All right, welcome back to the SportsMax Zone as we switch to cricket now. Guyana dethroned Jamaica as champions of the Cricket West Indies Women's T20 Plays with a super over victory in Sunday's final at the Honorsvale ground in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Set to bat, Jamaica found themselves in early trouble, losing captain Rashida Williams to the second delivery of the match. But the Jamaicans recovered to post a respectable 122 for 5, with Shadeen Nation 35 and Abigail Bryce 32 not out, making most runs. 19-year-old leg spinner Nia Latchman picked up 2 for 11, while Ashmini Munisar offered good support with 2 for 26. Chasing 123 for victory, the Guyanese were led by captain Shemaine Campbell's 54 from 47 deliveries. Leanna Grimman contributed 46. They, however, still needed Shanetta Grimman to score 2 runs off the final delivery to level the scores and force the super over. Guyana women posted 8 for 1 in their time at bat. Shabika Gajnabi and Shemaine Campbell both scoring 3 runs. With a target of 9 to defend, the ball was tossed to leg spinner Latchman, who bowled brilliantly, first removing the dangerous Chanel Henry for a 3-ball duck as the Jamaicans laboured to 3 for 2 to hand the Guyanese the title. Meanwhile, things were a bit easier for the Trinidad and Tobago Legions over at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Tarouba on Saturday as they won the inaugural CWI T20 Breakout League with a 17-run victory over the Leeward Islands Thunder. Sent to bat, the Legions posted 181 for 5 from their 20 overs, with opener Kamil Puran leading the way with 73 of 44 balls. He was well supported by captain Joshua Da Silva's unbeaten 40. There were 2 wickets apiece for Karima Gore and Micah McKenzie. Jed Gooley 3 for 13 and McKenny Clark 3 for 34 were the main destroyers in restricting the Leeward Islands Thunder to 164 for 9. Kofi James top scored with 63. Nikhil Uttamchandani was on commentary duties for the Breakout League and he joins us to recap both finals. Nikhil, I want to start though with the women's T20 Plays because what a final that was last night. But the Guyana women held their nerve brilliantly and showed real quality at the back end to come through and dethrone Jamaica as champions.
Yeah, Ricardo, I think Guyana were the deserving winners of this competition when you think about the way they went in the regular season, the bowling attack that they had with the most variety. When you think about a young star, in my opinion, in Latchman, Sherry-Ann Fraser, Grimman, a finger spinner, I thought they had the best tools in terms of being able to plague teams. And you look at before that final, no team had scored more than 88 runs against them. So I thought, yeah, with 3 wicket takers in the top 10, they fully deserve to win, and credit to them for being able to, one, hold their nerve enough to get to the runs and then be able to pull off the super over.
Yeah, I think, Nikhil, you summed it up, pretty well just now. But I just want to take the match a bit apart, and talk about some of the outstanding players that really stood up, because we have to remember we're coming into a competition where a lot of the key players were missing, senior players, that is. So Jamaica without Stephanie Taylor, we know what she has done when she is a part of that setup, and a lot of the other teams missing key players. When I looked at how Shemaine Campbell went about this competition, and I'm not only speaking about the final, she really stood up with the bat in the final, to get the team to the super over, and then of course during the super over to score the runs that turned out to be the winning runs. What is your assessment of her for this competition?
I thought she was good, Maria. Her accumulation of runs, the rotation of strike, and obviously her ability against spin usually stands out amongst the rest regionally. My main thing with Shemaine Campbell is how can she then translate the skills internationally when the bowling is then upgraded and you get a more premium spin attack to face. And she's shown it at times. You think back to the last India series when she got runs in the one-day international. She has the skills. We know she has the sweeps. She's got the ability to use her feet. It's just about, for me, how does she consistently be able to deliver that at the highest level? I also thought Leanna Grimman, who is 20 years old, batting in that lineup alongside Campbell was also impressive.
Yeah, and as you're speaking about the impressive performances, even Jamaica, I have to say, I mean, first of all, the way in which they got into the final of this competition, there were a lot of standout players, even after missing Stephanie Taylor. Were there any players or youngsters from this setup, Nikhil, that caught your attention and you feel like if they're given the opportunity, in this senior setup could go on to do good things?
Well, I had two names sort of specifically looking at the beginning of the tournament. Lakshman was one with her wrist spin. I want to also say it's very encouraging that 3 of the top 5 wicket takers in the tournament were leg spinners. But Lakshman, especially because she's 19 years old, because of the fact that her control, even under pressure, has stood out. And then Samara Ramnath, who's 17 years old, didn't get a lot of wickets in this tournament. But I love the fact that she batted up the order. And also, she's brave. She was economical in this tournament. And from what I understand, she's also developed a wrist spin delivery to complement her orthodox and arm balls. So I'm very eager to see, one, how the West Indies manage the 2 of them. But I think you want to get them in and involved, whether it's the A team, whether it's the senior team, just having them around, because these are 2 talents that I think we can't afford to lose, and we need to continue to develop.
Yeah, Nicola, I agree with you about Guyana based on the body of work they did through the entire tournament, deserving of this title. Before we move on to the breakaway, which you covered, is there anything of significance from the T20 tournament for women, T20 Blaze, that you would want to highlight?
Lance, I think this tournament was a wake-up call, man. I was significantly and terribly disappointed in the batting. The fact that we only had 6 scores of over 100 runs out of 16 games for the teams batting first. I think, and yes, I know there was no DeAndre Dottin and there was no Hayley Matthews, but this to me doesn't represent a tournament that is of a team that got to the World Cup semi-final, the last T20 World Cup. I really think the batting and the scoring options and just the development of batters, it needs upscaling in a big way regionally. I don't know how Miles Bascom, Director of Cricket, intends to go about that. I know they're making good strides in the academy, but we saw this in the Super 50, and now we're seeing it in the T20 tournament, where batters simply have no run-scoring options against spin, especially, which is why the top 8 wicket takers are all spinners. But then I'm looking at in the middle overs, when the field is spread, I don't see many batters, have the ability to be able to rotate strike. So I think those 2 things are significantly plaguing the women's setup, and I'm hoping that there's some improvement, because let's not forget, these players are who are coming next to that West Indies senior team.
Yeah, and for the Breakout League now that you covered, great to see the Leewards getting a team into the final and being reasonably competitive throughout the season in the tournament as well. But Gooley and Pooran were special in this final, and because of them, the Legions were irresistible.
Yeah, I think first of all, the Leeward Islands, they were good this season. The problem for them was their batting depth. It was literally just Kofi James and at times Joel Andrew. And when James was sort of being his aggressive self at the top, they needed someone in that middle order to come in and be able to bat them deeper into the innings, because you want him to be his best self and play that way. But look, credit to Trinidad and Tobago. I think you look at their setup, and it's funny how from the Pollards, the Bravos, and that time, the T20 cricket legacy clearly has carried on, and the culture. Because I look at this team, it's the deepest team in the tournament with the all-rounders that they had. Gooley, his ability to bowl and bat. Navin Bidesi, who got the all-rounder of the tournament. And just having depth, James to come in and be able to power the ball around in the last 5 overs. They had options. So on days where the pacers weren't working for them, they were able to go to a plethora of spin options to take pace off the ball. And yeah, I thought on paper before the tournament, they were the best team. And execution-wise in the competition, they were the best team. And look, it wasn't easy to play and wait a week to play another game. The Silvers men showed enough maturity to be able to get the job done.
Yeah, Nikhil, in 10 seconds, rate this inaugural season of the Breakout League.
I figured you would say that, Ricardo. I'm going to give it a A- or maybe an 8 out of 10. I thought when I look at the areas plaguing West Indies cricket, I could see a few of those being addressed, but I still want to see some more of the senior guys, seasoned CPL players dominating this competition. But in terms of if it was needed, man, we needed this 5, 7, 10 years ago. Great initiative.
Yeah, great initiative indeed. All right, Nikhil, thanks very much. We'll chat again soon.
Cheers. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. Yeah, we go to another break. More to come on the SportsMax Zone.